Good morning, everybody. Let us move on to the next essayist, that is J.B. Priestley. John Boyton Priestley, educated at Bradford and Cambridge, and one who saw active service during World War I and later spearheaded many progressive English organizations, has been one of the most versatile figures in modern English literature. He has distinguished himself as a novelist, short story writer, dramatist, literary critic, and essayist. Quite noticeably, there are two parallel strands in his writings. On one side, he writes on the simple working people and the lower middle class in a language and style which show his ability fully to harmonize his medium to the content and to his ideas. On the other side, he has acquitted himself most successfully in the expression of a deeply intellectual note through his works. He has written quite a few plays on the problem of time. The typical mood of Priestley is strongly reminiscent of Charles Dickens's and W. Jacobs, who both are his favorites. As an essayist also, he has been very versatile. Many of his essays are literary criticisms of the highest vintage. Others are inspired by his deeply sympathetic interest in the common experiences of life. There are others in which he takes up subjects from politics and social problems, on which also his treatment is most enjoyable and informative. The best of Priestley's essays are to be found in Journey Down a Rainbow, The Open House, Papers from Lilliput, and Thoughts in Wilderness. Priestley's prose is easy, clear, and refined without being artificial. He is evidently emotional, but this does not affect his masterly handling of language and imposing on his essays a befitting structure. His aim is to pinpoint truths that usually escape notice. This is successfully achieved without being a dry moralist. He frankly reveals himself through his style, and an important means in this regard is his ability to identify himself with the readers through his delightful humor. There is a natural rhythm in his prose, which highlights his skill in the use of the most homely type of language. He masterminds the structure of his essays by an admirable synthesis of matter-of-fact passages and emotionally exalted language, revealing his heightened awareness and moments of supreme elation. Next, to this brief introduction, we are going to discuss his essay on doing nothing, which is prescribed in your course. On Doing Nothing is an essay by J.B. Priestley debating over the idea of work and relaxation. He has put work and relaxation as poles apart things. He talks of the idea of unwinding oneself and the benefits we would enjoy from doing nothing. He thus stresses on the idea of doing nothing and spending time in leisurely activities, which is as necessary and beneficial to human life as work. So thus he dismisses the binarism of doing and becoming busy and doing nothing, because in his opinion, while we are doing nothing, we are also doing something which is relatively more important for us to boost up our energies, to do something in the eyes of the world, and be prepared for another feat. The life of a man is fraught with work, and of course all of us are involved in that rat race, directly or indirectly. Such a life is necessary and can also make us prosperous, but it isn't the be all and end all of all matters. There thus exists a world outside work, the world of leisurely activities and pastimes, what we call hobbies in our day-to-day conversation, in common verbal exchange. We are all to spend sometimes consciously in such matters. Nature is beautiful and it not only soothes the mind but also a teacher and a nourisher. Nature only regains mental health and achieves a position where we can work better and more efficiently. However, the irony is that not many people realize this value. They spend most of their lives at break. They spend most of their lives at breakneck speed and pass away without even looking at nature. The author does not conform to such an idea of life or such an idea of work. However, the author does not instruct us against work also. Work is important and necessary and absolute. No work would only mean laziness coupled with aimlessness. He only wants us to blend our work with the perfect mixture of rest and pastimes. These things done in moderation only helps us to perform better. Thus, we should make conscious efforts to enjoy nature and relax. It is only then that our lives become a complete circle. This is the reason why he enjoys his outing with his artist friend at Yorkshire Falls. Such communion with nature helps him to retain his sanity intact. On the other hand, he denounces the likes of Mr. Gordon Selfridge, who curse the wastage of time. Such people work only for profit motives and in reality miss out a considerable portion of life. The tragedy, however, is that many of us don't even realize the value of pastimes. This makes the author suggest instances in our history who would uphold the author's notion of life and its value. Thus, William Wordsworth would only be happy to vouch for such a kind of life, he feels. Priestley goes on to say that a devil is usually busiest being and majority of the world's fuss is created by overwork and impatience. A break from the usual monotonous and humdrum affairs of life only helps us to avoid such irritation. In short, the author tries to hold before us a way of life and its intrinsic value. There is more to life than just working carelessly. Work and leisure, if blended properly, judiciously, astutely, not only helps us to go a long way but also in a better and more fruitful way. So we have to be very pragmatic, we have to be very practical in maintaining a balance between work and leisure. On doing nothing, Priestley has focused on the theme of peace of mind, laziness, envy, desire, and even early on the essay, the reader realizes that Priestley may be exploring the theme of peace of mind also. Priestley, while on the moors with his friend, finds a sense of calmness and peace of mind, something that he does not find in the city and which he is grateful for. He believes that others too would benefit from doing nothing or being lazy for a period of time. With an example referring to World War I being given and how things might have turned out differently. Should those who were involved in World War I have taken a break from politics in July 1914, the world would have been saved from the great disaster. Similarly, those who were involved in the Peace Conference of 1918, Vienna Conference, might have served themselves better by taking a break from their normal duties. If anything, Priestley appears to be suggesting that society as a whole would benefit from taking time out from their everyday work and being lazy for a period. Mankind would benefit. It is also difficult not to disagree with Priestley, particularly when he makes reference to World War I. Priestley also believes that some people might feel envious of those who are considered to be lazy. Their detachment from the world is envious and something to be likewise sought or admired, though not necessarily stated as such. Selfridge being a prime example of those who might feel envious of those who are considered to be lazy. Selfridge appears to thrive on admonishing the lazy, yet he may very well be aware of the fact that he himself should be allowed for it, would benefit from taking time out from the world. which is often the case. Those who admonish an idea or practice often long to be able to perform the same practice that they admonish. Such is human nature, and the desires of making Priestley may also be suggesting that there is nothing better than taking time out from the world. There is nothing that it can be compared to, particularly in a world where man tries to escape so often, yet is unsuccessful. Those who choose not to escape or be idle for a period of time have the reader's sympathy, and most likely Priestley's as well. It is also noticeable that Priestley draws on religion to emphasize his point, believing that those who partake in religious conferences might serve their time better being idle for a period. This might be important, as Priestley might be suggesting that there are some who are overzealous when it comes to their beliefs. Not only religious beliefs, but on their beliefs with regard to society and how it functions in reality. Priestley is highlighting the benefit of being lazy or idle with regard to a large multitude of society. There may be less wars and reasons for man to be in constant conflict with himself. Though Priestley may be in the minority, he still does not let go of his beliefs that others would benefit from being idle. If anything, society may have found itself in a bind by being so active. Something that is clear to the reader by Priestley is referencing to World War I. Priestley also criticizes America for its belief that laziness is the primary sin. This too may be important, as by introducing America into the story, Priestley may be attempting to highlight the good and bad, the American dream, a dream in whereby it is believed a man or woman by hard work can achieve anything, when the reality may be that a constant effort in chasing the American dream may not necessarily be needed. A person, after all, needs time to relax. The end of the essay is also interesting, as Priestley draws on Wordsworth to back up his opinion on laziness. This may be significant, as Wordsworth would be a leading English poet and Priestley may have an English audience in mind when he wrote the essay. Though it is noticeable that Priestley also draws on the American poet Walt Whitman, who Priestley suggests may have had a lazy streak, and as such this may have contributed to his success. The last sentence of the essay, "and he would be right," might also be significant, as it suggests that Priestley is totally dedicated to the idea of being idle for a period of time, that there are proven benefits to being so. As to whether the readers themselves agree is really left to each individual reader to decide. Some might suggest that laziness is indeed the primary sin, while the others may very well be exponents of the idea of having periods of idleness to re-energize themselves for work. Thank you.